You know, I think a lot of times we think of graduation in terms of an end, but the research indicates that if students don't get to graduation, there really isn't a beginning. Our work has been, how do we get our students to the starting line? And the starting line for life is graduation.
Students, the things that they have to deal with, the lives that they go home to, I feel like driving into Salem is like driving into a different world.
We had around 50 seniors who we identified as bubble students. Students who could mathematically graduate, but who may need interventions or supports in order to make that happen.
High school's not easy to graduate from, but when you have obstacles and other hardships in your way, it just makes graduating from high school 10 times harder.
Working out in the fields has always been the only option my parents had. I knew I needed to go out for that diploma, but I also knew providing for my family was a priority for me. There would be some days where I wouldn't show up to school because I was still working, sometimes 7 days a week. My senior year is when everything started coming apart. When my parents got the phone call, they had to make a decision of leaving to Mexico because my grandma had passed away. A month later, my grandpa had passed away. Throughout the 2 to 3 months that I was in charge of my siblings, I felt alone most of the time. I felt like giving up, didn't know who to go to at that moment.
When I first met Jacqueline, she was very quiet. It was bare minimum what we could get out of her. After getting to know her is when she felt more comfortable, more open to speak what was going on outside of school. Then she wasn't just a student, she was Jackie. I understood where she was coming from. We both have families that come from migrant farm workers. I knew where she wanted to be. She was just going to need extra support to get to that point.
Social studies teacher, correct?
There is a specific time I recall really going to bat for Jacqueline. It was the spring of her senior year. She was saddled with raising her younger siblings. They were hurting for food. She wasn't sure how bills were going to get paid, how the mortgage was going to get paid. And I just drove home that night thinking, how do these kids do it? At that point, I really started working with Jackie and some of the different people on our campus that I knew could help her better than I could.
The student is Pineda and we have mom here for you. Lunch is about to...
During passing time and lunch times, we'd go out and make ourselves visible to the students in the hallways. It was a spot where Jackie knew I was going to be. She would come and check in with me. When she would open up about why she wasn't coming to school, we just had to find a way to work around that and help her find the avenues to get to where she needed to be, but not letting her give up.
Each time I met with Jackie, I would make note of it. This is where her action plan was. One goal was for us to check in once a week. We also had her taking an SK online class, and she had a homework packet over the break, which was churned in. We took note of that. This is when we got her set up with the tutors.
We were able to bring in some tutors from the outside, and it was really up to the kids to show up. And so I commend them for showing up, because not all of them came, but Jacqueline did. She was very studious. And I think that in the end is why admin came to bat for her too, because she had been to every tutor session. She had done everything we asked her to do. She showed up.
The way I saw both Patty and Johnson were not just a school counselor or a mentor. I saw them like family, someone I was able to rely on.
So, good to see you. Check in tomorrow.
Okay? Now go to class. All right.
They filled in that gap for me. They seemed like my second parents, giving me the support and the help I needed.
I think as a student advocate, it's our job to go to bat for a student when a student can't speak for themselves. Telling their story, making sure that we make it a level playing field for them, involving administrators when we need to speak to teachers, to make things happen so that we remove barriers for students.
If we move them one step closer.
The grad team work that we've done has impacted mindset as adults in the building. It has put priority to not functioning in silos, but functioning as part of teams and utilizing strengths of individuals on those teams in order to benefit our students, in this case, ensuring our students walk across that graduation stage.
Without them, I wouldn't make it this far.
It is my pleasure to welcome you to the McKay High School graduation ceremony for the class of 2018. Graduates, please come forward to receive your diplomas.
I knew without them, I wouldn't have walked that stage.
When a student graduates, they change the trajectory of their family forever.
Please move your tassels from right to left. Ladies, gentlemen, and honored guests, please stand and join me in congratulating the McKay High School graduating class of 2018.